The only way we survive a mad world is to embrace the madness. Fear the Walking Dead, Episode 6, The Good Man. This is the finale. The title clearly refers to Travis, who we've watched for the last 5 weeks put his faith in institutions and the establishment and always reassure everyone that everything's going to be fine. The advice he gave to Doug a few weeks back, that a man has to reassure his family everything's going to be fine. It's just what a man does for his family. It was very Don Draper advice. Don Draper always said, you move forward. You go home because that's what people do. And his decision, which was an act of mercy to not let Salazar kill the corporal, to actually let him go. Because the corporal rightly said, there's no version of this story that doesn't end with me dead. It was a decision that could have had disastrous effects. He shows up later with a gun pointed at Salazar. He wants revenge for what Salazar did to him and did to his arm. And Ophelia tries to talk him down. Now you've got to ask yourself, the writers made the decision there to just give Ophelia a flesh wound. What if they had gone all out and, if the corporal kills Daniel, it doesn't have quite the same narrative weight as if the corporal was to kill Ophelia right there, maybe by accident. Maybe Travis lunges out, hits his arm, and Ophelia takes a bullet right to the head. Let's see Travis come back from that one. Would that really break Travis? But in the end, it's Ophelia. She takes a flesh wound to the arm, and Daniel lives, and Travis beats the hell out of the guy. He just pounds his head into the concrete again and again and again, and they've got to pull him off him. That was just weeks of pent-up anger, pent-up aggression, and it all came spilling out all at once. He put his faith in this man, the corporal. He said, I'm going to give you another chance. I'm going to let you go. And the corporal came back, and he had to get revenge. He couldn't even let it go. He had to come back and get Salazar. I can see where he's coming from, but Travis gave him another chance, saved his life, and that's the thanks he gets. Doc Exner asks the central question of the show, perhaps of the franchise: what is family now? Before, I've said that the central question of The Walking Dead is, are you ever too far gone? And I think after watching Fear the Walking Dead that I want to revise that. The central question is, what is family now? And Doc Exner puts it to Liza, are we talking about blood or bond? And in this new world, they're very much the same. Look at Rick, Carol, Daryl. They are family now. They are a family. They function as a unit. And it's a question that Doc Exner asks sort of flippantly, meaning, are you going to save everyone, or can we just focus on your blood relations, Travis and Christopher? But knowing what we know now, which is a lot of the fun of Fear of the Walking Dead, is that we know way more than the characters do. It puts the whole franchise, including the parent show, into a good perspective. Because we know what the term family comes to mean in the post-zombie apocalypse world. So the show opens with that shot of the arena and the chains straining against all the walkers behind them. And I feel like a better opening would have been actually to show Daniel breaking those chains and letting the walkers out. And you would have said, well, why did you do this? When did you do this? Because we got that shot last week of just the chains straining. So I think it didn't have the right dramatic weight just to show that scene again, because we already knew that. We don't need a reminder that there's thousands of walkers in that arena. We don't actually see Daniel break the chains, but that act really shows the lengths that man will go to protect his family. To save 3 lives, Nick, Liza, and Griselda. Of course we know Griselda's already dead. He's going to unleash thousands of walkers on LA. There could be innocent people still living that are going to get killed now. He wipes out the entire base. All those people who were sick that were going to be airlifted to safety, Doc Exner kills them all because of that decision that Daniel made. So there's more blood on that man's hands than anyone else. When the corporal was pointing the gun at him, maybe he had the right idea. Maybe Travis should have let him take the shot. So Alicia still thinks we're winning. I'm surprised she's not still trying to break out and bring her boyfriend some soup. We do pick up emotionally where we left off last week with Ophelia coming to terms with the fact that her father, Daniel, was in the chair of the torturer, and he had someone tied up to the other chair. He was not the victim that he pretended to be. And he asks her the very well thought out question, would you really prefer that it was the other way? And it's a great question. he did what he had to do as a result of his circumstances. We as a society don't forgive him. I mean, we don't condone torture, but you know, if your loved one had to be in one chair or the other, which chair would you choose? It's a tough one, and Daniel is coming to terms with what he's done, the choices that he's made. But Ophelia has to start from square one and realize who her father really is. So Operation Get My Ass Back to San Diego apparently went off without a hitch. The army has abandoned the town. There's no one left, so the group leaves in the middle of the night. Not only do they not tell the neighbors where they're going or tell them the truth of the situation, they leave the gate wide open. And when Daniel arrives at the base with the super herd of walkers behind him and he tells the guards, you're going to want to save your ammo. Very cool scene, probably the coolest scene in the show. And when you're looking at that super herd of walkers coming around the corner, I as a viewer was kind of struck by three things. One, as a viewer, how cool of a moment it was. I remember this is one of the scenes that I'm going to remember when I think about this show in the future. Two is the absolute recklessness of Daniel to do this. He's putting hundreds of lives at risk to save one of his own. And that really speaks to his character and who he is as a person. And three is how the production team, as I said before, saved a lot of their budget for this final episode. The fight at the hospital, the fires, the watchtower coming down, the helicopters, the all the makeup on the walkers in the building. It was great. It was really well done. It's the episode we've been waiting for. It just came a little bit too late. I have a good friend who I talked to about this show, and I asked him what he thought, and he said he stopped watching it a few weeks ago. So I asked him why, and this is what he had to say.
The characters are uncompelling. Discompelling, I believe, is the official term. The story's too obvious. They're like, oh, like the military is going to be evil. Oh, okay, that was dumb. Yeah, I'm just bored. Like, I don't care, you know.
Who's the main blonde character? The main lead.
The girl.
Yeah.
Like the mom.
Yeah.
Like what's her name? Phyllis.
And I agree with some of his points. The show is a little slow moving at times. Travis was very frustrating to watch. And in the end, we did get a great episode out of the finale, and there were good character moments leading up to this. But in the end, I don't know if this would have been served better as just like a 2-hour movie, just like a TV movie, and they used it as like a pilot for maybe season 2, and they turned it into a show. I just don't know that there was enough story and enough characters that I cared about to last for 6 full weeks. I got a little bored in the middle as well, kind of wondering, like, there's so many other shows I could be watching right now. Why am I choosing this one? And it's because I had faith that in the end they were going to give us the spectacle we came for, and they were going to tie up the loose ends and give us the character development that we as the viewers and the characters themselves were screaming for. Another character who's going to give Daniel a run for his money in the heartless and reckless department is Strand. The shot where Nick shows him that he's pickpocketed the key to the cage out of his suit was great, and he kind of smiles because he knows that Nick is the guy he thought he was. And they leave everyone else behind, locked up. And then later, when the soldier who gave him the key is getting eaten alive, he says to Strand, kill me, kill me. And Strand just calmly takes the cufflinks out of his pocket and says, you're well on your way already. He won't even put him out of his misery. He rightly notices that walkers they're not to be feared because they're very slow. And he notices that right away, which, you've got to respect him for that. He has a firm grip on reality here. The shot of him sort of fixing his tie through the chain link fence as Nick is shaking it was great, and there's that perfect diamond of the fence just kind of bouncing. It was very well done. Props to the cinematographer on that one. So his plan is to get out of there, get to his house, and then get to Abigail. And it's a little bit of a like a light mystery. What Abigail is? You think, is it his daughter? Is it his wife? Turns out it's his super yacht, and he says, "Don't go east, go west." And it's something that I screamed at my TV before for Rick to just get down to the Gulf of Mexico, or get to the Atlantic Ocean, like whichever direction he can go in, and get to water. Find an island, find somewhere like that, or at least a spot on the beach where walkers can only come from one direction and you can defend it. So Strand has the right idea there. A couple notes on this episode. When Salazar says, we're in, the hard part's over, and then someone asks him, how do we get out? And he says, well, that's the harder part. Thanks for that. It's very helpful. When Alicia and Chris were told to wait 30 minutes for Travis and then leave, why the next morning? Were they expecting them to still be there? Was there a line I missed where they said that they were going to wait all night? The scenes with them tonight, useless as usual. Didn't enjoy it. Didn't need the soldiers kind of threatening to sexually assault Alicia and then stealing the car and punching Chris out. It didn't prove anything. It didn't prove he's tough. There was no character development for them at all. And it was a shame because you've got two, I'll go out on a limb here and say decent actors there. I just don't think the writers gave them a lot to work with. Maybe in season 2. Some of the other standout scenes tonight for me were the scene at the locked door and Liza shows up at the last second as like a Deus Ex Machina and she's swiping her key card again and again and they get Strand and Nick out of there just in time. The battle in the kitchen was very good. The scene where the soldier runs headfirst into the tail propeller on the helicopter, I've never seen anybody do that before. And what was really touching to me was how Doc Exner, she knew there was no life for her outside those walls. She was going to stay, do her duty, finish up, much like the gentleman that they met at the CDC at the end of season 1 of Walking Dead. She's going to stay, do her duty, ride it out, and die at her post. And she kills all the patients. It seems heartless, but it is a mercy because they're going to turn into walkers, and that's just more danger for everyone. But you've got to, once again, look at Salazar's decision to open those gates. Yes, it did buy them the time and provide the distraction he needed, but it cost hundreds of lives, including all those patients who would have been medevaced out to safety. They all had to be killed because of the decision he made. The shot of the bodies piled up by the bulldozer, that was terrible, and you've got to realize that what Liza said was right, that for Ophelia to see her mother, there's just nothing left to see. So she was right there. I knew they were going to kill a main character tonight. It just made sense dramatically. My money was actually on Madison because she seems the least likely. She's supposedly like the star of the show, even though she hasn't had that much to do. She had a great scene when she's reunited with Nick. But I feel like it should have been Madison who was bitten. Maybe it would have held a little more weight, but instead it's Liza. And Liza, Madison had asked Liza to kill her in this event. So Liza says, well, you asked me to do it, so now I'm going to ask you to do it. And it's Travis, the good man, the changed man who comes down, finishes the deed, doesn't make Madison do it. And will it break him? I don't think so. I think he's stronger now. I think he can handle it. He couldn't have handled it before. He couldn't have done it before. But for him to go ahead and do that shows that he understands the new world. And he's as ready as he's ever going to be for the challenges that come up. The last few shots, the helicopter shot, was very well done. I enjoyed how it sort of kept zooming back and flying backwards and showing all of LA. And you see this huge world out there. And then it turns around and shows Abigail, and then it shows the ocean. Limitless possibility. And I kept thinking they were going to show like a submarine come up or something weird was going to happen, but they ended it right there. It was tastefully done. It was well done. And all in all, the episode was a satisfying conclusion to what was at times a little bit of a meandering mini-series. I know it's not a mini-series, but a shortened first season. I feel like if nothing else, this series showed us how the infection works, because I kept wondering, if everyone already has it inside them, what difference does being bitten make? But being bitten just kills you quicker, because apparently there's no way to fight off that infection. I don't think that the Parent Show ever made that very clear. We knew everyone had it in them. And when they die, everyone changes. But being bitten doesn't pass the infection along, apparently. I think I'd like that to be fleshed out a little more, but it is an interesting concept. So all in all, we got some of the character development we needed. Nick, when he gave us that really great beat with Madison, and he sort of explains that, he's always been in this place of not knowing what comes next, of being unsure of where he stands. And now the world is catching up to him. That really helped for me kind of define him more as a character. Someone who hasn't to this point made a lot of impact on the story and the decisions of the group. Is he going to be more prepared than anyone for this new world? So we'll see. Season 2, I guess is next year. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to be watching it or not. I'd love to know in the comments your thoughts. Did the high points of The Good Man make up for some of the low points of the last few weeks? Did you stop watching? Did you tune in just to see the finale, or did you see all 6 episodes? Curious what you think. Looking forward to your comments. Please don't forget to click subscribe. And as always, thank you very much for watching.